What's up, interwebs? Welcome to the Storytime Podcast. I'm Tim.
I'm Adam.
And this is where we go through my first novel. This is actually season 1. And we're going through my first novel of Angelic Wars, Legend of the Godchild. Angelic Wars, Book 1. And, well, we're going to go through it. Adam reads a chapter every day, every episode, and then we talk about it. About that chapter and the build-up before it, and how it does it make sense, all that stuff. But before we get to the reading, we gotta get some stuff out of the way.
Okay.
Adam, plug your stupid channel.
Hey, if you like mediocre gameplay and a bunch of stoners also trying to give commentary to mediocre gameplay, go ahead and check out my channel. It's ZOP Gaming.
You forgot there's a person who's not a stoner?
Well, I mean, it's still mediocre gameplay.
There you go.
And the co-host on that show is also a stoner.
Yeah, there is one stoner on that. Anyway, and you got that. Also, I have writing content here, so why don't you go hit that like, smash that like button, and do it as a prayer to the holy algorithm.
The holy algorithm.
And subscribe to the other content on your channel. Now we got that stuff out of the way, let's get to the reading, and then we'll be back.
Chapter 19. Escape? 3 black cars rolled into the driveway of Dr. Toller's house at 9 o'clock sharp. Not wanting to draw any unnecessary attention from anyone in the house, the car lights were off. The cars only pulled into the driveway and pulled off on the yard right behind a tall bush, so the cars were away from the house. Once all 3 cars were parked, the cars were turned off and the driver's front and passenger side doors opened up, and out stepped 6 men, all wearing long black cloaks with a hood over their heads. They walked in front of the cars and gathered together. "Does anyone know why we were summoned here tonight?" one of the cloaked men asked. "As well, why we were not to go to the house but park here." "Your guess is as good as mine," another replied. "Whoever called me did not sound anything like David," different cloaked men said. Same here," the other replied. Suddenly a rock flew over the heads of the 6 cloaked men. With a loud crash, the window shattered. All the cloaked men turned towards the woods to see where the rock had come from. On the very edge of the woods stood another cloaked man, but on the sleeves were long red stripes. The man waved them to follow him, before he vanished into the woods. The other 6 men followed after the person who had called them this night. After entering the woods, they lost track of him. A few moments went by before they heard a loud snap of a stick echo off the trees. The 6 men slowly moved through the woods towards the direction the sound came from. A minute later, they saw a person standing near a big rock. They headed towards him, but he took off again, moving further into the woods. Not wanting to lose him, the 6 did their best to keep up. A few of them had to grab their cloaks and pick them up so they could run and not trip. The 6 men did their best to dodge low branches, rocks, potholes, and branches on the ground. 5 minutes after entering the woods, the 6 noticed a light not far up ahead. Once again, they lost track of the person they had been following. They decided the light up ahead was their best bet. A minute later, they came to a small clearing in the woods with several large rocks all around it. It was the rock quarry that Natalie had found when she escaped for a short time. The fire in the middle had been started and was roaring, unlike the night before when Natalie had used the same place for a fire. Standing a few feet from the fire stood the cloaked man who had summoned them. The 6 men walked over and knelt before him. "You summoned us, Daniel," one of the cloaked men said. "I did," the cloaked man replied, removing his hook. "I did," the cloaked man replied, removing his hood. "Why have you called us here tonight?" another asked. "Our beloved leader, Dr. David Toller, is dead," Daniel answered. "My friends, please, do not kneel." "We were just doing what is commanded of us when we approach a leader of the coven," another cloaked man replied. "Carl," Daniel said, "I know, but we have a little time and much to do. Please stand and remove your hoods. The cloaked men nodded their heads and stood as they pulled off their hoods. Daniel looked over who was there and quickly realized 2 were missing from the 8 he had summoned. I see, he said. Jason and Jeremy have joined them. What are you talking about? Asked Carl. As you know, a few days ago, David and I met the fallen angel, Monono. Daniel began. Well, I must let you know that was a trap our master had been planning for. It turns out the plan was a trap not just for Monono and his servant Trowel, but for us as well. What do you mean? Another cloaked man asked. Well, Steve, Daniel said, we are to die in the trap. What? The 6 men replied. Yes, Daniel replied. David realized this too soon. He was killed in battle against Trowel. They fought to the death in a magic challenge. There was no way David could have won, another coven said. Actually, Tim, he dominated the battle. Daniel said it was due to some unfortunate turn of fate that he lost. When I heard he was dead, I realized I was not far from the same fate. Well, why are you telling us this? Another member asked. I fear for your souls, Daniel said. Mark, Tim, Steve, Aaron, Justin, and Carl. You have no clue what our coven really is. The master I talked about is none other than the great dragon himself, the angel who led the rebellion in heaven. What? The 6 men said. Yes, Daniel continued. When David was killed, I realized I was on the wrong side. The dragon has no love for us and would dispose of us once we have completed what he needed us for. I am afraid that David and I have reached that point. That is why I have gone to the Almighty himself and asked him to forgive me for my actions. Why? Carl said. I stand here before you, a member of the Almighty's army. Daniel said. Traitor? Justin said. Call me what you will, Daniel replied. That, however, is not why I have called you here tonight. David gave me orders what to do if he should die. Even though I am no longer part of this cult and its beliefs, I shall honor my friend's last request. Which is? Aaron asked. To get the girl who is being held in the basement and take her to a place where Monono cannot find her, Daniel said. I know that by doing this, I may be falling right into the trap the dragon has set for me. However, my soul shall not be his. If you are a traitor to the coven, why do you want us here? Mark asked. I need your help, Daniel answered. You 6 are all that is left of the coven. All the other members have either joined Monono and been killed by David before he was killed by Monono, killed the ones who refused to join him. Your leader has given his last requests, and you are bound by the oath you took when you came into the cult. You do know that betraying the coven, you are to be killed, Tim said. I know, and if you feel that you must do that, once we are done with task, you are free to do so, Daniel said. Good, Mark said, because I do feel that I must do it. However, like you said, it can wait until we finish our task. Then we are agreed, Daniel said. Yes, the 6 men said together. Good, Daniel. Here is the plan. Wait a second, Aaron said. Who said you were the leader? Aaron's right, Steve interrupted. You've betrayed the coven. You must forfeit your leadership. I happily do so, Daniel said. However, I am the only person here that knows what has been going on in that house since the beginning. I have a plan already, and unless any of you come up with a plan within the next 3 minutes, you should listen. Why 3 minutes? Carl asked. These grounds are constantly covered by creatures not of this world, Daniel said. Eventually, one of them will spot your cars and realize something is up. Why do you think I took you all so far into the woods? I hate to say it, guys, Tim said. We have no other option than to listen to him. You're right, Aaron said. All right, tell us the plan. Good, Daniel said. Monono and Troll are constantly in the living room or the basement. They are waiting for the scroll to be returned to them. I have no clue where they are in that, but as soon as it is returned, they are going about with their plans. So Carl and Steve, you will go back the way you came to the edge of the property and follow it until you are on the other side of the house. Once there, Carl, you will stay in the woods and keep watch. Steve, you will enter the basement door and get the girl. The rest of us will sneak into the house and keep an eye on Monono and Troll. How will we know when the girl is free? Asked him. We will all have a radio with an earpiece, Daniel said as he pulled out 6 small radios with an earpiece and plugged into the side. Only mine, Carl's, and Steve's can talk. When both Carl and Steve are in the car and on the road, they will radio me. Then we will sneak out of the house and get away from this place. What if I see one of those creatures that is patrolling the grounds? Carl asked. Stay hidden as best as you can, Daniel said. Also, radio Steve and let him know so he doesn't happen to walk out with the girl as it's passing by. Okay, Carl said. Oh, yeah, Daniel said. Steve, make sure you close the doors after you get inside and leave. If one of those creatures sees the doors open, they will investigate. As stupid as they might be, they'll know if the girl is missing or not. We don't want them to know until as late as possible. Is that all? Asked Mark. No, Daniel said. Carl and Steve, head out. We will not be far behind. I want to talk to Mark, Tim, Aaron, and Justin, and about how we are going to get in the house. Okay, Steve said as both Carl and Steve raised their hoods and slowly began to make their way towards the house. Carl and Steve, Daniel said. The two stopped and turned back around facing Daniel. As well as the rest of you, Daniel said. You are all going into the danger, and your lives will be on the line. I beg you, before you begin your task, that you would seek the Almighty and ask him to forgive you. Both Carl and Steve just turned around and headed through the woods back towards the house. After 5 minutes, they reached the edge of the woods. To make sure they were not seen, they headed 10 yards into the woods and began to make their way towards the side of the house. A few minutes later, they reached the oak tree that Natalie used for cover when she was trying to rescue her sister. They waited there for a few minutes before checking to make sure no creatures were in sight. Carl ran towards the backyard to see if there were any there, while Steve checked the front yard. A few minutes later, they met back at the oak tree. Clear in the back. Same in the front, Steve said. I'm going in. Keep a sharp eye. I will, Carl replied. Steve peered around the oak tree for one last check. Then he was off, running full speed through the woods into the yard and over to the basement doors. He grabbed a hold of the handle of the right door and pulled it up. With a squeak, the door opened and he jumped inside, pulling the door shut. "I am in," Steve said, speaking to the microphone so the others knew where he was. "Good," Daniel replied. "We are in the house and making our way towards the living room. Keep us informed when you are making the run with the girl and when you are on the road." "We'll do," Steve said. Steve slowly made his way over to the other side of the basement where the cell was, expecting to see bars where Natalie was being kept. He was shocked not to see any. He quickly noticed in the far right-hand corner there was a doorway. He walked over to it and peered inside. Natalie had her head against her chest, sleeping soundly, even though her arms and legs were still bolted to the wall. To make sure no one was coming, he pushed the button on the mic and called Daniel. "I found the girl," Steve said, "making sure that no one is coming." "We are still moving into position," Daniel said. "I hear both Trowell and Monono in the living room. However, any Coven members David might have missed could be in the house still. I'll do my best to warn you if something is headed your way." "Okay," Steve said. Steve moved into the cell and walked over to Natalie and tapped her on the top of her head. When she did not wake up, he leaned forward and whispered in her ear. "Wake up," he said, loud enough for her to hear but no one else. Still, she did not wake up, so he tried it again, but louder. After 2 more tries, he got tired of it and grabbed both her shoulders and began to shake her. Her head flew up and eyes shot open. Seeing Steve standing in front of her, with his hood over his head, scared her. She opened her mouth and began to scream, but he clapped his hand over her mouth before she could make a sound. "I am not going to hurt you," Steve said. "I'm here to get you out of here. I am going to take my hand off your mouth now." "Why are you trying to help me?" Natalie asked. "It was my master's last request," Steve said. "There's no time for questions. If you tell me where the keys are, I'll get you down off the wall." I think they might be out in the other part of the basement," Natalie said. "However, I'm not sure if there are any keys." However, it was too late. Steve was already back out in the basement looking to see if he could find the keys to the cuffs. He walked over to the workbench and began to search the drawers. Meanwhile, back in the house, Daniel and the other Coven members had taken their places where they could watch Monono and Trowell. Monono was still standing at the window, staring at the mountain, waiting as patiently as he could for the scroll to return. Trowell was sitting on the couch, eating some chicken made by the chef. He had changed his clothes from what he was wearing in the battle with David. He now had a white button-down shirt with no collar and blue jeans with holes all over. Around the ankle, they were rolled up. The pants were clearly not his own. "How long has it been since we heard from the shotgun?" Monono asked. "I am not sure," Trowell said. "Just be patient, Monono. The creature will be back soon. Even if it was killed, we know right where the girl is, so we can storm the place with hundreds of them and take the scroll." "Wait patiently," Monono said, turning and facing Troll. "I have been patient. I've been waiting for 6,000 years for this day. The scroll is so close to me now. I will not wait for it to be taken from me. Also, if they did not kill the shotgun, don't you think they would move the girl to another location?" "No," Troll said. That didn't cross my mind. It makes sense. Maybe we should send a few more Shadkins to make sure everything is all right. That's the first smart thing you've said all day, Monono said. Too bad it came this late in the game. Suddenly, in the right-hand corner of the room, the Shadkin appeared, holding the scroll in his left hand. Monono was shocked to see the creature still alive. He walked over to it and grabbed the scroll. What took you so long? Trowel asked. I ran into some trouble, the creature answered. Is that why you didn't... Is that why you didn't bring the girl? Monono asked. Yes, the Shadkin answered. What kind of trouble did you get in? Troll asked. Me, the Shadkin began. It doesn't matter, Monono said. We have the scroll now. Whoever it was will be no match for me once I have the Almighty's power. What about the other girl? Troll asked. Look at the scroll, Monono said. The scroll had a faint orange aura around it. Monono held it up so Troll could see. Both of them could not believe what they were seeing. What's happening? Troll asked. I heard that scroll glows when the Godchild is near, Monono said. I did not believe it was true, but here it is, glowing. That just shows we have no need for her. The girl we need is downstairs. Then what are we waiting for? Troll said. Monono dismissed the Shadkin before he and Troll made their way towards the long hallway. Daniel realized that he had yet to hear from Steve that he had gotten Natalie out of the house. He knew he was going to have to stall, so he drew a long dagger from within his cloak and ran up behind Troll and put the tip of the dagger to his throat. Move and I'll send him to burn in the lake of fire, Daniel said. Monono turned to see Daniel holding Troll from around the neck with the dagger tip poking his carotid artery. His hood was still draped over his face, making it hard to see who it was. But Monono knew exactly who it was. You fool, Monono said. Do you really think that threatening to kill him will get me to surrender to you? I will kill him if you move, Daniel said, peering out from behind his hood. You do not understand, Monono said, taking a step closer. If you kill him, then there will be nothing to prevent me from getting you. Actually, there's nothing standing in my way now. So if I kill my own servant, I can just raise him from the dead once I have the Almighty's power. Realizing that what he had done was foolish, Daniel took a step back, bringing Troll with him. He pressed the dagger hard into his neck, just enough so a little bit of blood slowly rolled its way down his neck. I know that David is dead, Daniel began, trying to buy time for Steve to get Natalie free. You should know that the plan my master has for you is working perfectly. Everything is going to plan. If you think that you will take the Almighty's power, you are mistaken. You know nothing of your former master's plan, Monono said. You know, Daniel said. How could I not? He replied. It's all over you. His glow is surrounding. Too bad the side you picked is the losing side. As much as I would love to kill him right now, Daniel said, you're more of the threat. Daniel threw Trawl to the ground and charged Monono with the dagger, still clutched in his fist. As he reached him, he raised the dagger and shoved the whole blade into his heart. As the blade pierced the flesh of Monono, a very powerful spark of energy came from his body through the dagger into Daniel's body, killing him instantly. Daniel's lifeless body dropped to the floor as Monono pulled the dagger from his chest. He laughed, looking at his own blood drip on the floor. I guess I forgot to mention, Monono said, that when a mortal tries to kill an immortal, the energy from the immortal transfers to the immortal, killing him. Only an immortal can withstand the power transfer. Oh well. Monono dropped the dagger on the floor and turned and faced the hall. Trawl got back to his feet and walked up to his left side. However, did not move from the spot. He just stared into the hall. I know you're hiding, Monono said. Come out. Tim, Aaron, Justin, and Mark were shocked to hear that Monono knew they were there. Only Daniel revealed that he was hiding, and didn't reveal he was alone. Come out before I decide to torture you, before I kill you, Monono shouted. Slowly, the four remaining coven members came out from their hiding places. They stood up looking at each other, out of fear they were about to die. Monono just laughed at the sight of them. 4, Monono said. That is all that is left of Toller's cult? Well, the final members are about to die. The four of them slowly began to walk backwards, hoping they might be able to get away before Monono could kill them. Without hesitation, they all turned and began to run. However, 2 Shadkins appeared blocking their way. Knowing their end had come, they decided to fight. They charged the creatures and attacked. Mark pulled 2 daggers like Daniel had from his cloak and shoved them into the chests of both creatures. 2 powerful shocks shot through the blades into his body, sending him flying across the room and smashing him through the coffee table. When the others saw this, they realized they could not win no matter what they did. Both creatures raised their blades on their right hands and slashed the 3 coven members. They dropped to the floor dead as blood oozed out of the wounds. Why were they here? Monono asked. I am not sure, Trawl responded. I didn't even know they were here until we started heading for the basement. They were watching us, Monono said. This whole stunt was a distraction while they freed the girl. What? Trawl shouted. Shadkins, to the basement, Monono shouted. Kill anything that is not the girl. The 2 Shadkins vanished as Monono and Trawl ran down the hall towards the door to the basement. Steve stopped searching for the keys when he heard footsteps running them come quickly to a stop. Then he heard Daniel talking about how he was going to kill someone if Monono moved. They're on their way here, Steve said. Where the hell are those keys? Did you try looking under the workbench? Cyrus asked from the far corner. No, Steve said as he dropped to his hands and knees. He pressed his face to the ground and peered under the inch crack between the floor of the basement and the workbench. Not here. Well, I guess there are no keys then, Cyrus said. There has to be keys, Steve said. Wait a second. Who are you? Cyrus stepped out from the corner into the light. He slowly walked over to Steve until he was only a few feet from him. You know where the keys are, don't you? Steve said. Tell me where they are. Just then, the loud bang of trawl being thrown to the ground and the footsteps running towards Monono could be heard. The running front steps suddenly stepped. And a moment later, another thing. The running front steps stopped suddenly, and a moment later another thud came of the lifeless body of Daniel hitting the ground. They're going to be down here any second, Steve said. If you know where the keys are, tell me. I know they're going to be here soon, Cyrus said. That's why I have no time to deal with you. Cyrus grabbed his sword, pulling it from its sheath. Once his sword was out, he turned it into a dual end and smacked Steve in the chest with it very lightly. However, to him it was like getting hit by a baseball bat swung by a pro. Steve fell to the ground and was out. Not wasting any time, Cyrus rushed over to the cell and walked inside. Natalie was thrilled to see him. But before she could say anything, he bent over and grabbed the cuffs around her ankles and easily snapped them off. He did the same to the cuffs around her wrists. She fell to the ground, but Cyrus helped her up. Once on her feet again, Natalie gave him a big hug. The crashing sound of Mark smashing through the coffee table came. Cyrus grabbed Natalie's hand and took off towards the basement doors. Once they were there, the two Shadkins appeared and quickly spotted them. 6 more appeared and charged after them. Cyrus threw open the basement doors with his free hand and jumped up the steps, pulling Natalie with him. Once his feet hit the ground, he took off running towards the woods. He began to pull Natalie in close to him so he could take off into the air. When she was almost to him, her hand slipped and she fell to the ground. He stopped and helped her back to her feet. A scream came from the woods, and both Natalie and Cyrus looked up to see a Shadkin walking out of the woods, holding the lifeless body of Carl. When it spotted them, it dropped him and flew at them. 2 more joined it as it charged them. Cyrus's path was blocked now. Suddenly, 2 of the oncoming Shadkins fell to the ground and melted into darkness. The 3rd Shadkin joined the other 2 a moment later. When Natalie looked to see who killed the creatures, she was surprised to see Sage standing in their place, with a light blue crystal sword raised in the air. However, there was something different about him now. He was wearing the same outfit Cyrus was wearing. Black trench coat, armor under it, with black baggy cargo pants. The only difference was that Sage's trench coat was sleeveless. Sage! Natalie shouted as she began to run towards him. Not now, he said. Cyrus, get her out of here and to the safe haven. Yes, Michael, Cyrus said. Cyrus pulled Natalie close to him. She put her right arm around his neck as he scooped up her legs with his left arm and placed his right arm behind her back. Immediately after picking her up, his 2 bright white wings shot out of his back. With a quick movement of his wings, he took to the air. As Cyrus took to the sky, the 8 Shadkins in the basement reached the stairs. They did not see Cyrus, but quickly saw Sage standing, watching Cyrus fly away. They charged him with their blades, ready to slash when they reached striking distance. When they reached striking distance, they slashed at him, only for him to roll out of the way. 2 of the Shadkins quickly rebounded with their hands and tried to grab him. Sage, who just got up on one knee, hardly saw the incoming attack. They grabbed his coat and pulled him towards them, but Sage sliced through their arms and followed up with a quick slash through their bodies. The remaining 6 surrounded him, and out of the corner of his eye, he saw Monono standing at the edge of the basement doors, looking into the sky. 3 dragpents appeared and took off into the sky after Cyrus. Sage knew he had to go after them. He pulled out his sword to his chest and grabbed it with both hands. The glow burst into orange flames. He quickly turned the sword upside down and jammed it into the ground. The flames shot out of the sword into the ground and shot up out of the ground in a circle where the 6 Shadkins were. They all caught fire and faded into the abyss. Wasting no time, Sage spread his wings and shot into the air after the 3 dragpents who were following Cyrus. Sage could see them just in the distance and flapped his wings and shot even faster through the air to catch up with the winged beasts.
OMG, Adam.
OMG?
Sage is Michael. I know you totally did not see that coming. Or the fact that he was an angel or going to be Michael. I know it.
Yeah, it really, it fell with such, like, there was never any hints at that this could be it at all during the entire. Oh wait, no, yeah, it was revealed in the first chapter.
Well, he was an angel, but not necessarily Michael.
He was going to find his sword. Which angels are known for having a sword?
All angels.
Really?
Yeah, I put some giant spotlights on there before the twist.
Yeah.
I even have a note in here. Where is it? Almost revealed Michael before the big reveal.
Yeah. I do like the fact that the Shadkin, it's like, well, turns out, guys, that and
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. We're bad guys. It doesn't matter what you were about to reveal to us.
Because we're outside the Almighty's power.
Yeah.
I'll be so strong they won't be able to match me. But, yeah.
I am no.
But, yeah. So we finally got the reveal.
Finally.
After multiple bright spotlights on who the Sage was going to be.
Sage has been out of the picture for most of this book.
Oh, yeah. I actually had the book above the OMG.
Yeah.
Sage is Michael. It says, Sage finally returns. It's only been like 12 chapters.
Yes.
Again,
exactly.
I didn't know what to do with his quest. And just decided...
You could have had so many things happen to him.
But I didn't... This was my first novel. I had no clue what to do with it.
That's your fault.
I didn't realize I was a planner at this time.
That was... You did to Sage what... You know, it was just mean. You took the main character out of the book for a while.
Was he the main character then?
Well, according to the first couple of chapters, he was.
Well, we opened up on Dr. Toller, so technically he was supposed to be the main character, but not.
No.
Well, when you open up on your first chapter, generally the reader will assume they are the main character.
2 books in a row then, bro.
I know.
Opening chapter had characters that were not the main character.
Unless it's a prologue. That's why the first chapter should have been a prologue.
Yeah.
And it would have been better.
2 times in a row.
Yeah. But yeah. So, okay, let's look at big picture. What was your thoughts of the rescue? By the way, which is the greatest chapter title of all time.
Well, yeah. Too bad this chapter isn't called that.
Yes, it is.
It's called Escape with a question mark.
Exactly. The greatest chapter title of all time.
Yeah. It was big picture. There's a lot of wait, what going on in this. Daniel suddenly, well, first of all, the last time we saw him, he went upstairs.
Yeah.
And then he switched sides.
See, going upstairs was clearly a metaphor and foreshadowing of him going up to a higher team.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. He just suddenly switched sides.
Oh yeah. One of my favorite bullets I put on here was where is it? Nope, not that.
Wow.
Oh, here it is.
Even your notes are confusing to
Oh,
yourself.
good. Daniel, out of fear, went to Cyrus. I mean, the Almighty side.
Yeah, you don't have him talk to anyone about changing sides. Nothing. It's just suddenly he's like, you know what, guys? Shit's going down.
Well, he's aware of the Almighty because he's literally in a cult that is serving the Great Dragon.
Well, of course.
So, it's not like he needs to talk to anyone, but yeah, he probably should have had a scene of him doing that. But I even forgot when I was transcribing this book earlier
Yeah.
that happened. And then I came to it, I'm like, oh, wow, okay.
Yeah.
This is supposed to be a Christian novel, but meant for seculars. Yeah, that was... What?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I cut out the obvious praying of Kiana a chapter or two ago, solely for this reason, and then immediately put in a chapter in where, yeah, I'm on the Almighty side now. Yeah. My soul is saved. You boys here, you need to get right with God.
That's pretty much what you just did with this
I know.
chapter.
Oh, and by the way, so David's cult is
Yeah.
a total sausage fest.
Oh, yeah.
No women. So, are these guys hiding something? I have a feeling they're hiding something.
They've never grown up. They actually started this group back when they were, like, in their preteens. And they had a sign that always said, no girls allowed.
Because that sign was just there because the no girls wanted to come. And they wanted to make everyone know it was their choice, not the girls.
Right.
By the way, it is totally Sage. It's the same quarry, rock quarry that Sage used as well.
Oh, absolutely. It's the exact same fire pit, too.
Yeah, exactly.
Sage is the first one to make it. Or was it Cyrus?
But yeah, okay, big picture. Keep going with the big picture. Overall, like, what thoughts? Again.
It's still a confusing chapter. Like, Natalie at least is in the right place.
Yep.
Monono is once again staring out the window.
As I told you off mic before we even did the reading, it's like...
By the way, it's couch, not coach.
I know what you're talking about. I say exactly what I said.
It's C-O-U-C-H, not C-O-A-C-H.
That's how I spelled it.
Trowel is sitting on the coach. What? Who's the coach? It's the coach from WWE. Jonathan Coachman is in there just being sat on.
He sold his soul to Monono. I'm sorry, Monono. And
Don't you mean VKM? Person of interest number 1.
But as you were saying about Monono and his love of looking out the windows.
Staring out the window again.
Well, as I mentioned up to you off mic, though, was he's a guy who's very impatient and can't wait for stuff.
But all he does is wait for stuff.
But he won't. The work of actually doing the stuff and finding it is clearly beneath him and won't do it.
So he's Thanos all the way up to Avengers.
But let me tell you another guy who got sick of waiting and people failing and went to do it himself.
And completed his mission.
And actually was successful for a period of time.
Well, I mean, time travel comes into effect.
Yeah.
Things get weird.
But yeah, so apparently he can wait. Because it's beneath him to do that work.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. But, and a quick question.
Yeah.
Why did they pull into David's driveway and not this road? Sure, they pulled behind a bush.
I don't know. Let's ask the author. Tim, why do you think they would have done that?
I don't know. Like, I know I wrote this, and I can't remember why I decided to put it there.
Oh, Tim.
And this whole idea of they only have 3 minutes
Yeah, that
to come up with a plan.
After they walked 5 minutes out into the woods.
But then when the their names go to the house, it's 5 minutes later. Then a few minutes after that, what happened to the 3 minutes?
Don't worry
Did
about it.
Daniel lie?
No.
Did he lie so they could do his plan?
No.
That's not very Christian of him.
No. The Almighty changed the path of the
Drag pins?
drag pens so that they wouldn't see the car because the Almighty works in mysterious ways.
Sure. No. I'm pretty sure he lied.
No.
And
He
it's
works
not
for the Almighty. The Almighty would never allow that.
Yeah. I think he lied so he could do his plan. Because he wants to die now, and he wants to take those guys with him, hoping that they will find them muddy on the path right before they die. So he lied, which is not very Christian of him. Except for all the Christians in the South. Well, pretty much most Christians in general.
You're like, hey, Cyrus, the Almighty works in mysterious ways. He was already in the house.
By the way, what was last request?
I don't know.
Oh, sorry. You said you fixed it and said last request.
Yeah. There's a
So where did last request come from?
I don't know what you're talking about. The brain sometimes says things that are not on the paper.
You can't confirm or deny that you ever said request.
Nope.
It's like I can confirm or deny I ever wrote the word coach instead of couch.
I had to catch myself on that one.
I'm writing notes, writing something down, and I just hear you say that. I'm like, what? And then you fix yourself. I'm like, I know I didn't say that, write that.
Yeah.
And then you fix yourself. I'm like, oh, my God, that's definitely being a note. Then you got the greatest line ever besides, she took a seat upon a seat.
Right.
And I did write a version of it down, but we're going to get, Adam, you found it, so we're going to have you reread the greatest line.
Look, it's absolutely amazing because, instead of being like, the rest of your coven have died.
Either by Dr. Toller?
Yeah.
Or
Monono. Instead, we get, you six are all that is left of the coven. All the other members have either joined Monono and been killed by David before he was killed, or Monono killed the ones who refused to join him.
The greatest line ever. You could not write that more.
Basically, what you just said was Monono killed a bunch that didn't join him, and the ones that did join him, David killed all of them. So you're it.
You cannot write that line any clearer. It is perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, the way I wrote it here, because I kind of was working on the line above it about out of fear, Daniel and everything, and then the requent one. So I had to write it quickly. So I kind of got David killed those who killed all who switched sides because I
got killed.
Yeah,
those that
that didn't switch sides. Monono killed. So you guys left.
You guys are the only ones that are left. Okay.
No, you guys left. You gotta go with the trend here. You just gotta leave those other words out. They're not important. They only add confusion. This is how writing works.
No. This is not how writing worked.
Well, you just said it this way. See, I captured word language perfectly.
No, perfect language not captured.
Again, when Daniel says you only have 3 minutes, there's
a lot of time that goes by.
Yeah, but not just that. But again, we already covered about him lying to get his plan. But after he says that, there's only 3 minutes before the drag pin's going to discover their cars. Why the fuck did they park in the driveway?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Even if they did behind a bush, why not on the side of the road? Come on.
I don't know what you're talking about.
And by the way, Daniel clearly had thought his plan through with this, clearly. So it's totally not going to work.
He brought equipment.
It's totally going to fail.
Where he got this equipment, I don't know.
It's clearly the equipment the occult uses on missions.
Right.
Because
they do missions quite often.
Well, Daniel was going to do a mission until the bright Moon, and
No, he was
Shone
gonna
and
go
end
do
up-
something.
and then
Probably have dinner with friends.
no. He was gonna do evil stuff that needs to be in the shadow.
That can still be getting dinner with your friends. You can just do it evil.
No, that's not allowed. Nope, that's not the same.
There's nothing wrong with having an evil dinner.
Oh, and
It's just, you go to Taco Bell.
how is Natalie sleeping?
I don't
chained
know.
to the wall?
She just fell asleep.
Apparently, she's
got
one of those
comfortable.
people. She can just sleep no matter how.
Exactly.
Apparently.
She is chained up so that she is off the ground, chained to the wall, and she's still like, you know what? I'm gonna take a nap now.
Oh, I think I should have rewrote it. I think when Cyrus comes in,
Yeah.
and frees her, he should have removed her hands first, so she just face plants. And he's like, "Oh, I should have done those first." No, it breaks her ankles or something like that. Oh, I should have fixed those beforehand. Removes the things and then heals her really quickly, which would have been better set up for later.
When he does, well, that's spoilers.
Yeah, when he doesn't do something when
What?
he could have. But I do love how this entire time we're watching, following Daniel and everything. The Shad King comes up, almost reveals Michael.
Yep.
Before no, cuts him off, so it doesn't matter. The guy is looking for these keys that don't exist the entire time.
Oh yeah.
And I wish I didn't point out it was Cyrus who said that. A voice that says, "Did you check under there yet?" And it's like, no,
Wait.
no, they're not there. Then I guess there's probably not any keys. Well, there's gotta be. Wait, who are you? And then he just then reveals Cyrus touches it.
Boom.
But we know it's Cyrus the entire time.
Oh yeah.
But like, it's just like we're through his point of view because we then head hop again.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, by the way, did you know you obviously noticed this? There was another. Meanwhile, in the house.
Meanwhile, in the basement.
We had another one of those. I think that's the last one. There might be one more, but I think that's the last one.
Oh, I hope there's more.
I hope there's one more, because I think there's gonna be a meanwhile. But I don't know.
I truly think that you need to write an entire book where every single scene change like
is
that
meanwhile.
is meanwhile.
Meanwhile, back to the apartment.
Meanwhile, back in the Batcave, and they're like, "I'm sorry, the what?" And he's like, "Never mind."
No. Meanwhile, back in the apartment, Raven's body is starting to smell. Meanwhile, back in the basement.
Because it's been a couple of days by now, right?
No, this has actually been. We're probably in. It's been probably over about 36 hours.
Nope. Because Natalie escaped and spent a night out there.
That's what I'm referring. That was 24 hours. This is still the next day after that.
Jeez. This is... Yeah, both too long and too short at the same time.
Yeah, I know.
It's like, oh man, this is taking forever. It's like, yeah, but it's only been a couple of hours. And you're like, how?
To put it into perspective, Sage has been on the mountain for 2 nights.
2 nights. And we've done 12 chapters since he went out there.
Yeah.
Absolutely uncalled for.
Well, honestly, this timeline before YA really took off and everything, besides Harry Potter, actually still fits the timing of a YA novel.
I know.
They don't like when they go in. It's a bang, 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 bang. Maybe not this quick because they're usually doing something bigger.
Right.
And they have a lot more travel or something like that they have to do. But it's generally a fat like 4 days.
It's like a week at the most.
Yeah, it's like 5 days at the most. So, and my book will end. The last chapter is the only chapter where we get more time passing. This is the rest of the chapters all happen in this night.
Wow.
Like the main story wraps up within 2 days of. It's been like 3 days. No, 2 days. 3 days. Yeah, 3 days total. But 2 days of Natalie being captured, getting free, and then getting captured again.
Only to get captured again.
Well, by the way, I had a question about when the guy comes in to rescue about the keys.
Yeah.
And asking where the keys is. My question, Natalie actually answered before, but I always started writing it, so I kept the line about, I don't know if there are keys, but how are there keys? Troll, he's a troll, we're dealing with a troll, magically made them appear.
I know.
Oh, and
I know.
Did you like that little world building thing I added here?
Which was? Sorry.
Mortals can't kill an
Yeah.
immortal. The power just comes through them and kills them.
It would have been better if you said that Monono had an ability that allowed him on a fatal attack to just transfer all the damage to the other person.
Nah.
And it's just like, bam, I stabbed you. What? My heart's dying. I just stabbed my own heart.
Nah. That will come back into play, and then I will violate that rule. I kind of give an example, a reason why that doesn't happen, but I do violate the rule.
All right.
So I'm setting up world building and then giving an example of what, then telling you, oh, there's ways around it.
And then you retconned it. You're like, here are the rules, guys, except for when I want to break them.
But I didn't retcon it. I just gave a reason why it didn't work.
It's because you're a writer. Yeah, that's it.
Only then to have Natalie fall and hit her head and possibly die.
Oh, for crying out loud.
Spoiler, that did not happen.
Why do you keep spoiling yourself?
Come on. Wait, I literally have it set up for the bad guy to get what he wants. Natalie has to die.
Yeah, that's
In
true.
a sense. So, unless we're going to do the bad thing where the bad guy doesn't get what he wants.
Well, I mean, the bad guy's not supposed to win.
Who said he wins by that?
Oh, you're doing that trope. The trope of the bad guy wins, but he loses.
Oh, by the way, I head hop twice here.
Oh, okay.
Because we head hop when Daniel dies, and then again when Natalie gets taken away, we head hop to Sage - Michael, who has now appeared because they flew Cyrus and Natty flew bye, but we're still in the present location, so we head hopped apparently to Sage.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yes, there is.
Nope.
Yes. No head hopping.
Narrator knows everybody's heads.
No head hopping.
Okay, that's going to be really difficult then, especially for you.
Well, no, just in the same scene. You have to have scene break to clarify we're now in someone else's head.
No.
Yes.
Full head hop all the time.
Oh, I put a note that Adam had to take a drink to clear his throat.
Yeah, I did.
And I said,
There's a lot of words.
possibly except for the second time. I don't know. I wasn't paying attention when there was a few pauses.
I was... Throat got dry, okay? I got dry mouth halfway through.
And again, Cyrus pops up out of nowhere.
Yep.
Ironically, I'm very consistent with Cyrus doing the pop-up joke. Just there and just running with it. No matter how serious it is, Cyrus will pop up and just be like, hey!
He doesn't make an entrance. He's just there.
Yeah.
What's up?
He's just like...
You try to look under the... Hey, Sage, how's it going? Oh, hey, Cyrus, how you doing? No freak out. No one freaks out when he does this either.
Well, Sage does the first time.
Yeah.
When he's reading the newspaper in the kitchen.
The heck are you doing in my house?
But he doesn't freak out in the way most people would.
Not really.
And then when he tells him to leave, and he seems to think he does.
No. He told them to not be in the living room.
No, kitchen.
Not be in the kitchen.
I know. When Sage clearly meant, it's clear. He's like, leave here in general, not in the apartment. But because he doesn't actually say that, he just leaves.
That's not what he said.
His intention was that.
Yes.
Not what he said. And
It doesn't matter what his intention is.
Oh no, it clearly does. But Cyrus decided to take him up on his exact words.
Exactly. That's exactly how the Cyrus. I mean I'm Almighty. I mean Cyrus should be
You
operating.
blew that joke, Adam. You totally ruined that joke.
Of course, it's a bad joke.
No, you meant to go with the joke, but you kind of just ruined it by saying Cyrus too many times beforehand, and then saying, "Oh yes."
But
Almighty.
Cyrus, you know Cyrus, the Almighty Cyrus. Everyone knows Cyrus, the Almighty Cyrus.
I'm sorry. Did you say Almighty in there? I cannot confirm or deny I ever said the Almighty. When I said Cyrus.
No. His name is now Cyrus, the Almighty Cyrus.
No.
You got to believe it. You don't have to. You don't have to
Like it?
like it. You just have to believe in it.
Okay.
Once you believe, you will know the truth by believing in it.
No. Anything you want to add to this chapter about this?
No.
It's the most ridiculous rescue. I'm sorry, escape. Escape?
Except no one is escaping in this.
It's a rescue.
It's a rescue. No. You know what?
No, it should literally be when Jenna escapes. That should be escape. This should
Yeah.
be escape part 2.
Escape again,
No, escape part 2. Oh no,
and then later on, and escape again, part 2. Escape 2, escape part 2 again,
again?
and you're like, wait, what?
Yeah, the rescue. No.
Yeah,
No, that's a chapter. It should be a chapter.
that's a chapter just called Rescue. Yeah, no.
That is a should be the name of a chapter coming up. A rescue? Oh no,
Nope, it's not the next chapter.
no, it's not the next chapter. We'll get to it. I'll refer to it when we get there.
Yeah, I can't wait for chapter Dos Equis.
Those techies. But Adam, we're now with only 6 chapters left,
Only 6 chapters left.
going into chapter 20.
It's gonna be great.
So, yeah. But we don't have anything else to add here, so we're just going to wrap this bitch up.
Sounds good.
So if you made it this far, we're assuming you enjoyed it. So why not go and hit that like button? Nope. Sacrifice it as a prayer to the holy algorithm.
The holy algorithm.
And subscribe, because I got content on this channel. And if what's on the screen isn't for you, or you're just not in the mood for more writing content, go check out Adam's Bad Game channel.
Yes.
I think it's called Losers Play Video Games.
No, it's called ZOP Gaming.
Oh, that's right. Because you're pro
Yeah,
at being
in
mid.
quotes.
Pros
That
at
is
being
in
mid.
quotes.
Yeah, we're pros at being mid.
Yeah, we are so
No,
mid.
you're not mid. You're not even
I don't
close
play.
to mid.
I don't play most of the games, so yeah, I could be amazing.
But go check out that channel instead. With that being said, my content will be on screen now. Click it. We'll see you there. Other than that, bye.